Hello everyone, this is Alexander Tegoff with Prestige Waterfront Realty, and this is going to be the first of several videos that we're going to do for you agents in our agent training section, particularly dealing with MLS. Now this is going to be the first video, so it's very basic, but I'm going to talk about habits that you should develop as a real estate agent in order to ensure that you become a successful agent and don't just close a deal here and there. Now, to get started and jump right in, the first thing that you need to realize is that real estate is about maintaining relationships. Think about that for a second. Yes, we may buy homes, sell homes, help people, rent homes for a living, but our success is directly correlated with how good we are at developing new relationships and maintaining those relationships. And just because you're not good at it individually does not mean that you can't develop those skills. And that's what I'm going to try to show you through these videos. So what we're going to be using is the Greater Fort Lauderdale Realtors MLS. As you see, I've logged into MLS. This is the Fusion MLS. So if you're logging in and yours looks something different, it's either because you're a part of a different board or because you're not using this Fusion or newer version of the MLS that they currently offer. Now, since we're going to be talking about relationships, developing relationships for a short amount of time is worthless to you. You want to develop long-term relationships, maintain those relationships, and think about it like growing flowers. You plant a seed, you water it every now and then you have a flower that blooms, and you get joy from that. But the same thing is going to happen with your contacts. So you need to get in the habit of first getting somebody's information when you run into them in order to be able to hang on to that information and build a database. So as a new agent, what you need to concentrate on initially is taking the time to make or talk to random people throughout the day, whether it's at the supermarket, whether it's somebody at your other job, whether it's your another mom that's watching her son play soccer after school. Wherever it is that you interact with the outside world, just make yourself more open and more friendly and just try to stir up random conversations. Once you do that, obviously one of the first questions that comes up is typically, what do you do? And you say, I'm a real estate agent. At that point, you're going to have an idea of whether that person may or may not be somebody that you can possibly do business with down the line. And it's very important to get in the habit of, whenever possible, to always try to get somebody's contact information. Regardless if they end up buying real estate from you or not, you're always going to have their info in case you want to reconnect with them down the line, or they could turn out to be a great source of referrals for you. So typically always ask for a business card if available. If not, always make sure to get the 4 key pieces of information: first name, last name, email address, and phone number. That is the very minimum you should always be trying to get from a person. Now, your goal should be to try to get 2 to 3 people every single week as a brand new agent, just to train yourself of getting in the habit. Once you become better at that, or if you're great in the beginning with that, get as many as possible. Once you have that information, the next important thing to do is to immediately put it in here as a new contact. Even if you're not planning on doing anything with that person, more times than not, you end up losing the card, losing the info, it gets deleted, your phone breaks, whatever happens, and it's lost. So you just wasted your time. And it gives you absolutely zero yield. So let's not do that. Let's develop great habits from the get-go. Okay, so all of these fields here, when you're entering this information, are relevant. Remember, they're developed by MLS. You're going to want to enter as much of this as possible. Under status, I'm going to go ahead and use casual for this demo, just for demo purposes. Email address. Now, a lot of people don't take the time to do this, but that's because they don't know how to properly leverage this technology to help you close deals faster and help you with maintaining these relationships. So again, it leaves the 4 pieces of information, but you're going to scroll down. Summary, I typically put as where I met the person, if we have anything in common like hobbies or a common point of talking. So that way, if I don't hear from this person for 2 years and I come back here and he calls me randomly out of the blue telling me he wants to buy something or sell something, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember you. I met you at this bar, or I met you at the golf course, or I met you at the restaurant, whatever the case may be. Often addresses you're not going to have, so you can leave that. Tracking information. Many agents think, who cares? I don't have money. I don't have that many deals. But it's a good habit to get into if you've actually sourced this lead yourself, because later you can analyze what works and what doesn't work for you. So put that on there. Any additional notes and any information you may have gathered about the person's potential interest in real estate. If they're potential buyer, seller, renter, where, what they're looking for, anything you may gather. And the second most important thing here is the contact's personal information as far as birthday, anniversary, spouse's birthday, and then children's names. That's very crucial information that you're going to want if that person calls you back years later. So once you have that, you're going to go ahead and click Save. And easily enough, you completed the first step on your path to closing a deal, putting in the contact information. Once you do that, you're going to go ahead and click on Contact Manager. And this is the contact manager. I've hidden or deleted a lot of the contacts on here just so that we can use, I'm not disclosing private information, but at the same time I wanted to leave a couple so that way we can see what it's like to work with somebody and how to use this software. So as you see, I just entered myself here. I'm coming up as number 2, Alex. Some of the predefined fields in this search grid right now are first name, status, last notification of a search once I set up for them, or website visit, their emails if you want to email that person, their sticky notes if they have questions about something, and we'll get into these a little later. But for now, you see that the person is here. A couple of other things that you should quickly take note of the first time you're logging onto the system at this point. You can search by typing in a person's name right here, and it'll automatically filter that person's name. You can edit the grid, the information that shows up here. You can go ahead and click on this button, go ahead and click, create a different viewer grid. Once you have that, you're going to basically, edit it. And what that's going to let you do is either add or remove different fields. You can add their last name, you can add their phone number. Typically I have first name, last name, phone number, and email is still here in this case. And that's just displayed on the screen at all times. So that's cool, and you should play around with that at least once or twice to make sure that it's showing everything that is relevant to you, how you would want to see it. Then you have sort and filter, which will allow you to change things like names, different statuses that you can set, like the status for casual to active, etc., etc., etc. Print, and this is how you change the status. So for instance, myself, I'm set as casual status right now. I can go ahead under tool, once I have the checkbox activated next to my name, click on build, change status right here under build updater, or bulk updater, I'm sorry. And then from casual, let's go ahead and put me as inactive. Click OK. That's automatically going to update. Boom, my status is changed. Then you can sort by other options. Filter is the same thing, just a different way to get in here and see how you can manipulate this information once you have it. So that was the first step, entering the information, creating a contact, knowing where to go to find that contact, and that's pretty much it. Another quick note, since this is a very basic tutorial video, is set up your home page. If you click customize this page up here in the top right, you're going to be able to, for instance, add your contacts, add different things like news, today's summary, and recent website activity. Click save, all those fields pop up here. You're going to be able to have quick access next to them. You can move them around and set up your home page for your real estate activities. That's it for this first video. For those of you that are familiar with this, you can go ahead and skip through it. For those of you that, your first time doing real estate, I would really think about what was said in here as far as the relationship portion of it, and keep that in mind. And that's going to be one of the key things you can do as a beginning real estate agent. Once you start doing this and start trying to implement these habits, go ahead and go to the next section, and that's going to deal with creating searches for individuals.